You are 47. You punch your numbers into a retirement calculator. It says you need $2.25 million and can retire at 67. Maybe. You close the laptop, thinking you're working forever. Stop. That calculator just lied to you. Today, I'll show you why the sacred 4% rule is a trap, and how you might actually retire a decade earlier. My name is Paw. I tear apart the financial narratives that keep you chained to a desk longer than you need to be. If this is your first time here, hit subscribe because nobody else is going to tell you that the retirement industry has a financial incentive to keep that target number as high as humanly possible. Let me be blunt about something that should make you furious. The entire retirement planning ecosystem, the calculators, the articles, the advisors, the talking heads, they all use the same baseline framework. And that framework is designed to solve for the absolute worst case scenario in recorded financial history and then tell you to plan your entire life around it. Every single year, no adjustments, no nuance, no acknowledgement that you are a living, breathing, adapting human being and not a spreadsheet robot programmed to withdraw exactly $90,000 in 2024 dollars every the 1st of January until you drop dead. That is not planning. That is a straitjacket with a financial logo on it. Here is what they don't tell you. The one thing, and I mean the single thing, that separates people who retire at 50 from people who retire at 65 isn't a bigger portfolio. It isn't a higher salary. It isn't crypto gains or an inheritance or some genius stock pick. It is this, the willingness to spend a little less when times are rough and a little more when times are good. That is it. That is the whole damn secret. Flexible spending, variable withdrawal, whatever you want to call it. It is not exotic. It is not risky. It is not some Wall Street trick. It is literally just being a normal human being. When the market drops 15%, you skip the European vacation and go to the state park instead. When your portfolio's up 20%, you take the grandkids to Disney. You adapt, you adjust, the thing you've been doing with your budget your entire adult life. But the retirement industry can't sell you flexibility. They can't use common sense on a magazine cover. So instead, they sell you a number, a big, terrifying, paralyzing number. And you spend 30 years sprinting toward it like a hamster on a wheel, never stopping to ask, wait, do I actually need all of this? Let me show you exactly how badly this math has been distorted. And I'm going to use specific numbers because vague advice is how they keep you confused. Take a couple, both 60. They want to spend $90,000 a year in retirement. Social Security kicks in at 67. Combined benefit of $60,000. Pretty standard stuff, nothing extravagant. Under the rigid 4% rule, you divide $90,000 by 0.04 and you get $2,250,000. That is your number, that is the mountain. That is what every calculator on the internet spits out and then smugly tells you to stay the course. $2.25 million just to fund a lifestyle that includes grocery, shopping, and the occasional restaurant dinner. Not yachts, not mansions, groceries. But watch what happens when you stop treating retirement like one giant monolithic block and start treating it like what it actually is, two completely different problems stapled together. Problem 1, the bridge, age 60 to 67. 7 years where your portfolio covers everything because Social Security hasn't started yet. This is a known quantity. 7 years, $90,000 per year, $630,000 total. No guessing, no probability models, no Monte Carlo nonsense, just dollars and time. Now, here's where it gets interesting. You don't. TV needs $630,000 in cash on day 1. Years 1 and 2, sure, keep that in cash or T-bills. That is $180,000 sitting there, boring and safe, like a Toyota Camry in a parking lot full of Lamborghinis. Nobody's impressed by it, but it starts every morning. Years 3 through 7, put that in bonds or tips. And here's the thing, that money has 3 to 7 years to earn even a modest return. If we assume just 2% real growth, the present value of those future withdrawals drops to about $588,000. That is $42,000 less than the full pre-funding amount. Not because we took on more risk. Because we acknowledge that money sitting in bonds for 5 years doesn't just hibernate under a mattress. It grows even a little. Problem 2. The core, age 67 and beyond. This is where it gets really good. Once Social Security kicks in at $60,000 a year, your portfolio only needs to cover the gap. $90,000 minus $60,000 equals $30,000. Your portfolio went from funding your entire life to funding $30,000 a year. That is a completely different problem. And using the same withdrawal rate for both problems is like using a fire hose to water a houseplant. Now, the 4% rule says you need $750,000 to safely withdraw $30,000 per year forever. But here is the thing, the 4% rule assumes zero flexibility. It assumes that if the market crashes 40%, you still withdraw the exact same inflation, adjusted amount like a machine that can read a room. Real humans don't do this. I know it. The research knows it. When portfolios drop, people naturally pull back. They skip the inflation raise, they delay the kitchen renovation, they eat at home instead of going out. This isn't deprivation. This is Tuesday. And when you build that flexibility into the math, even modestly, even just saying, I'll skip my cost of living increase after a bad year, the sustainable withdrawal rate jumps. Guardrail strategies support starting at 5.2%. Dynamic spending models push it to 5.5%. And if you are willing to gradually reduce spending as you age, which, by the way, is what literally every spending study on retirees shows actually happens, you can start at 6%. So instead of needing $750,000 for the core portfolio, you need somewhere between $500,000 and $577,000. Let us call it $500 to $600 K. But wait, you don't need that $500 to $600 K on day one either. That money doesn't need to show up until age 67. It has 7 years to grow. If we discount it back at even a modest 5% nominal return, you only need $355,000 to $426,000 on the day you retire at 60. Now add it up. Bridge bucket, $588,000. Core bucket present value, $355,000 to $426,000. Total portfolio needed to retire at 60, with $90,000 in annual spending, roughly $945,000 to just over $1 million. Let that number hit you, really let it land. The 4% rule said $2,250,000. The flexible approach says under $1 million. That is 55 to 58% less money. You are funding the exact same lifestyle, same house, same food, same vacations, same everything, on 42 to 45 cents of every dollar you were told you needed. Where did the other million go? It didn't go anywhere. It never existed. It was a phantom, a ghost number. A buffer built on the assumption that you are an emotionless withdrawal robot incapable of ordering chicken instead of steak. When your 401k has a bad quarter. The retirement industry inflated your target by over $1 million because they refuse to acknowledge that you're a human being who adapts. And here's where people's jaws tend to detach from their skulls. Let's flip this around. If someone already has $2.25 million saved, the rigid 4% rule tells them to retire at 60. Cool, comfortable, nothing crazy. But what if we apply everything we just talked about? With $2.25 million and no portfolio growth, I am being intentionally harsh here, assuming zero return, worst possible assumptions. If this couple retires at 55, they arrive at age 67 with about $1.2 million. At 53, about $990,000. At 50, about $720,000. Remember, they only need $500 to $600 K at 67 to fund the gap for life. Every single one of those scenarios works, even retiring at 50 under brutally conservative assumptions with zero growth. Now add in a modest 3% real return during the bridge years. If they retire at 55 with $2.25 million, they arrive at 67 with roughly $2 million. At 53, about $1.9 million. At 50, about $1.8 million. Against a required core of $500 to $600 K. The margin of safety is so enormous, it is almost embarrassing. This couple was told to work until 60, the math says they could have walked away at 50, maybe 48. They were told to spend an extra decade at a desk they hate, because a calculator refused to acknowledge that human beings are flexible. 10 years. Think about what 10 years means. 10 more years of waking up to an alarm you didn't set for yourself. 10 more years of sitting in traffic for a paycheck that goes straight into a retirement account you've been told you can't touch yet. 10 more years of your knees getting worse, your back getting stiffer, your parents getting older, your kids growing up without you noticing. That is not a rounding error, that is your life. And you're going to give it away because a rule invented in 1994 by an actuary using data from the Great Depression told you the number needed to be bigger. Here is the psychology nobody talks about. There is a reason the financial industry defaults to the biggest possible number. It is called, and I want you to remember this term, anchoring bias. When someone gives you a big number first, every subsequent number feels small and risky by comparison. So when your advisor says you need $2.25 million, and then you learn you might only need a million, your brain doesn't think, oh great, I am ahead of schedule. Your brain thinks, but what if the smaller number is wrong? Better safe than sorry. And you keep working, keep saving, keep waiting. The industry anchored you to a number that benefits them. More assets under management, more fees, more years of you paying for advice, and then made you feel irresponsible for questioning it. This is how the game is rigged, not with fraud, not with lies, with framing. They frame a rigid, worst-case zero flexibility model as the standard, and then make you feel reckless for suggesting that maybe, just maybe, you'd be willing to eat out one less time per month if the market has a rough year. You're not reckless, you're realistic. And realistic is worth $1 million and a decade of freedom. Now, before someone in the comments says, but Paul, what about healthcare? Or what about sequence of returns risk? Or what about inflation? Yes, all real, all important, all need to be planned for. I'm not telling you to YOLO your retirement based on vibes. I am telling you that between the rigid 4% rule on one end and financial recklessness on the other, there is a massive middle ground that almost nobody explores because it doesn't fit on a bumper sticker. Retirement isn't one number, it is two phases. And solving for the harder phase forever is like packing a winter coat for a trip to Hawaii because technically, somewhere on Earth, it is snowing right now. Here is what I want you to actually do. 3 things. 1. Split your retirement into phases. Stop treating it like one monolithic problem. What do you need before Social Security? What do you need after? These are different problems with different solutions, different timelines, and different risk profiles. Solve them separately. 2. Run your numbers with flexibility built in. Not infinite flexibility, not I'll live in a van if I have to. Just modest, human, realistic flexibility. ILL skip my inflation raise after a down year. ILL spend 10% less for a year or two if the market tanks. That is not sacrifice. That is the thing you already do every time gas prices spike and you drive a little less. Build that into your retirement math and watch the required number shrink, like a cheap sweater in hot water. 3. Question the anchor. Whatever number is in your head right now, the one you've been chasing for years, the one that feels sacred and untouchable, ask yourself, where did it come from? Did you calculate it based on your specific spending, your specific social security, your specific flexibility? Or did you just absorb it from a headline, a calculator, a conversation with an advisor who benefits from it being bigger? Because here is the counterintuitive truth that the retirement industry will never print on a brochure. A $2 million portfolio, depending on your spending and your willingness to adapt, could buy you freedom a full decade earlier than you've been told. And that is not aggressive math. That is not wishful thinking. That is what happens when you stop planning for a robot and start planning for a human. The 4% rule isn't wrong, it is just incomplete. And the distance between incomplete and wrong is measured in years of your life that you'll never get back. Run your own numbers, question every assumption. And stop letting a calculator tell you when you're allowed to be free. Your retirement isn't a math problem, it is a life problem. And life, unlike a spreadsheet, bends.